Hello, everybody. We are live. Welcome to the 11th On Page Roast webinar. I'm joined with Ryan Darani. Great to have you.
Hey man, great to be here. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. We have like 4, maybe 5 pages to roast. That's great. And they are from the toughest niches. I thought that it will be a good idea to roast this kind of pages this time because I read on your website that you consulted companies that make £1 million a day. I'm curious about it.
Okay, yeah, you're probably in the right numbers. So if you don't know who I am, my history is I come from an agency, and we worked with some of the kind of biggest brands in the world, and some of those industries were finance related. So you can imagine things like mortgages, loans, the kind of revenue these guys are producing is pretty significant. So yeah, tough niches, but all good fun.
That's huge. That's huge. I've never worked with such a big companies with such a big amount of money inside it. And well, when it comes to like figuring out the SEO difficulty of a
Mhm.
niche of an industry, I always say that the more money flows through those pages, the harder it becomes because well, people can spend a lot of money on the content, a lot of money on backlinks, on domains, on all of these tricks that you can afford while you are building a niche website. And I'm wondering like how big were the budgets, for example, for consultation or for link building? That well, for link building, really.
To give you an idea, the budgets are like 100,000 plus a month into these kind
Yeah,
of niches. So that would be spread across like content production, digital PR, obviously the kind of tech that goes into producing sites this big. So yeah, but I would say 100,000 would be minimum per month, but I've seen in excess of 100,000 per month. So yeah, these are big budgets.
yeah, this is massive.
Yeah,
You could probably acquire any kind of backlink on earth you want, really, with
yeah,
that big amount
it's pay to
of
play.
resources. Yeah, definitely. Okay, guys. So let's get started with the first page being roasted, and it will be student accommodation Manchester. We start low, but all the following websites will be much harder. So I would love if you could run share your screen, and I will
Let's see.
add it to the stream once the right window appears.
There we go. Can you see?
Okay, yes, everyone can see your screen now. The microphone is yours.
Awesome. I've hidden my bookmark so none of you can see my porn. So I can't get roasted for that. But I mean, I took a look at this page. From what I understand, these guys are trying to go after student accommodation Manchester, which is pretty evident by the H1 tag. One thing that stood out when I reviewed this page versus the top three for this term is how limited the offering is. So the product offering is quite small. They're going after a very particular area in Manchester, which is it limits your audience and it limits the amount of revenue that can come through this page because you've got one block of apartments and that's it. That's one of the biggest things that stood out. Obviously, it's not that appealing to look at what we're looking at for the apartments. There's no interior shots. There's nothing that would give away, how great the interior would be, whether it's a shared accommodation, whether it's got TVs, internet, whatever it might have. It doesn't really show that at first glance. And as you scroll down, you've got kind of generic make your new home in Manchester, and then some I guess geo-relevant text about Manchester, which is fine if you're trying to rank in a particular area, but there's not much here to speak to your audience, which is students, right? If I do this real quick.
Yeah, I would be interested in the bars and clubs and so on.
Exactly. Yeah, you want to know where the bars are, how cheap a night out is, where the closest universities are going to be, what's it cost to get around Manchester if people are traveling from different areas of the country or even different countries. You want to know this stuff before you commit to coming to like view a property. So
Yeah, especially like the universities close to this area and so on. So if you are up to studying, really, then it's a good idea to be on the university from time to time, right? So
exactly right. You got sometimes,
yeah,
and then as you kind of scroll down, you've got your map, which is which is fine. It's there. It's not really serving a purpose. I would have put that up to where the apartments actually are. And then you've got your kind of generic FAQ accordions, but this is where they've kind of missed an opportunity. If I can show you this real quick, students, hopefully you can still see my screen.
Yep.
So that's my keywords everywhere, kicking me down. I'm going to choose these guys here. These guys are not a good example, but amberstudent.com. You can see really quickly that these are focusing on things that are going to make a difference to a student. How much rent? Do I get a discount? Can I stay with a friend? Is it furnished? Etc. Etc. Etc.
As we are here, can you explain to the people how to get this kind of snippet in Google?
Yeah, for sure. So this is based on FAQ schema. And schema is something that people don't typically take advantage of because they either see it as a hassle or they don't think that it works well enough to kind of include it in the strategy, right? So this will be on page, and then when you click it, you've kind of got the information that sits beneath, which is probably going to be a H3 tag somewhere on the page, right? Yep. And then you mark up the page with your FAQ schema, and it allows you to have this richer snippet in the results pages, which means you have more of a chance of a click, more clicks, better rankings, more engagement, more revenue.
Let me interrupt you for a second. Ryan, I will just quickly show my screen just for a second, and I will show you guys that this amberstudent.com, if you hover here, you will find out what kind of schemas are embedded. Indeed, we found FAQ page, question and answer, and this is how you can figure it out fairly easy. So take advantage of the data you already have in here in the SERP analyzer. And you're back, Ryan.
Cool. Yeah, I think you had a really good point.
Yeah.
Is that, can you see?
Okay. Yeah, just change the tab and yeah, perfect.
Cool. It's a really good point what you said. Like, take advantage of what the results pages are already giving you. Surfer is an amazing tool to get a quick glance at that. See what they've got on the page, see if you can replicate it, see if it even applies to your content first. Don't just kind of blindly follow people's schema if it doesn't make sense. But in this instance, we know that for clicks or for this result page, FAQ schema is going to make a big deal. And that's where these guys have kind of missed an opportunity because it's very generic headings, you know, entertainment, food and drink, public transport. If it were me, I would be a little more consistent and targeting with what I'm saying in my headers. So closest pubs or bars to this accommodation in Manchester, or what's the cost of an average meal in Manchester that's close to where the accommodation is. Maybe even give directions from where the accommodation is to the closest universities. What you're doing there is building up like huge amounts of relevancy, and it's a useful information, right? The more useful the information, the better that engaged the people are going to be on that content, the more likely it is that content's going to rank. So all in all, to kind of wrap that up from just glancing at the page, I would try and increase the product offering, take advantage of your FAQ schema where you can, and be more targeted with your keywords and your headings, whether that's secondary keywords or, if it need be, primary keywords to kind of boost that relevancy for the topic you're trying to rank.
Yeah, that's really a good and comprehensive answer as for the 4 minutes of analyzing a page. So let me take over for a couple of, but yeah, before I do, I was kind of curious about the Google map embedded on this page. Don't you think it could be associated with some sort of GMB business as well, or just generic one? I think like it's a good idea to give it a little bit of a push from those Google sites created through GMBs, and if it's local, and indeed it is local, that could be fairly helpful if they serve in the area of a Manchester, finding accommodation for students. That could be useful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, GMBs are awesome for like lead gen and stuff like that. Calls and emails and stuff like that is pretty powerful stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And going back to Surfer for just a couple of minutes, I analyzed with the SERP analyzer the student accommodation Manchester keyword, and I found out that we are ranking on position 18, which is definitely not bad with like seeing what we have on the website. And looking at the domain strength, it's number 3, and we even see number 2 in the top 2 with great content. On the left hand side, you can see the content score. So definitely content will be pretty important, especially looking at those 3 pages, position 2, 3, and 4. So I would take them as benchmarks to this analysis for sure. But before we do an audit, you mentioned the headings, what kind of keywords should be used there, and so on. I would consider going to the keyword section to find out what are the other keywords that our competitors are ranking. So this is kind of creating a cluster of keywords that can be targeted by the URL that targets students accommodation Manchester. And looking at the relevance on the right hand side, let me zoom in a little bit so you see it better. uh, you can definitely figure out that these guys with the relevance above 50% will be fairly easy to tackle with the same URL. And speaking of headings, you can definitely use these search terms like even cheap accommodation in Manchester for students. Pretty nice long tail keyword that is also fairly suitable to this cluster, and you can definitely find those 5 to 10 keywords that you can use as H3s, H2s in here, and you won't cannibalize anything. You will just strengthen your, let's say, topical authority regarding all of these topics that should be covered. And as for standard analysis, I will just trigger audit for a few seconds regarding the length and the exact. It's all good, but well, red glowing error, no exact keyword in title, which should be pretty easy fix that can boost a lot your page. And looking at the true density section, well, I would just take a quick glance at it, and I can definitely tell you that it is under optimized as hell.
Mhm.
Manchester student accommodation, which is a variation of the keyword, is not used on the page at all. Student accommodation Manchester used only once, while the suggested range is between 6 and 15. So we can spam a lot with the student accommodation itself is not used properly. Student accommodation in Manchester only used twice, while the range is 3 to 5. So we are definitely highly under optimized. So you can focus on improving the headings and stuffing a little bit more keywords within your content, and it won't
Mhm.
hurt you uh, because if the other guys do so, you can do so as well. It
Yeah.
won't hurt you for sure if you will apply these ranges. Of course, if you use student accommodation in Manchester like dozens of times, while the suggested range is 3 to 5, you can risk over optimization and potential penalty for keyword stuffing. But other than that, you should be all right. So from my perspective, it will be the title, adding more keywords, partial keywords, variations from the true density section, and well, University of Stanford, well, Salford, sorry, uh, men- mm,
Yeah, that's the
properties in Manchester. Well, a lot of things. Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
Wh- What you just said was a really good point, is that a lot of people spend a lot of time trying to optimize their content, but what they don't sometimes think about is that they might do it too much. So one thing that a good friend of mine, Marie, she's been on the show before, is that you don't want to be an outlier. You don't want to
Oh
be too
yes.
under. You don't want to be too over. You need to find that nice balance, that average. So yeah, what you just said, absolutely a huge point to consider.
This is something I encounter pretty often when people tell me that we suggest to big ranges like between 5 and 10.
Mhm.
It's a big difference, but I would say that if you like on the safe side, so you want to have this content as friendly to the user as possible and creative and look definitely not spammy,
Mhm.
I would go for the lower range. But if you want to maximize uh, effects of the keyword stuffing, as it is definitely still working, but you have to know that the margin.
Limits.
Uh, then go for it. And I'm curious what's your approach to this, whether you go with the lower or the higher.
I think it's really good to. I mean, it's massively dependent on the industry. I think there's
Oh yes,
there's more you can get away with in more difficult and kind of spammier niches. But the most important thing is to test it out first. So I wouldn't go in too high and mess everything up. I would probably ease my way in. I'd hit the benchmark, what Surfer recommends. If it's the bare minimum, I probably will go one over that and then see what it does. If it doesn't stick, I'll see if the top 3 have maybe more variations than I do, and I'll match that. And then once you match it, you're not, you're at the average that Google likes.
Make total sense. And yeah, we will probably see it in the casino website that is all over the place. Casino, online betting, slots.
Yeah.
And so let's get to the casino then, because why not?
Cool. So you should be able to, I think it's
bingofind.com. Bingofind.com.
Yeah, got it. So let me just change this real quick. Best bingo sites. Cool. Okay, can you see my screen still?
Yes, I can, but the audience does not. So I checked it, and yeah, screen is yours.
Yeah, screen is mine. Cool. Microphone is mine. So this is a tough one, and I'm glad that we've had this submitted for a couple of reasons. First thing is that bingo is kind of like this mysterious niche that people hear about, but they think is like these, huge companies that can compete in a space only, which is true to a degree. But a really important thing that stood out for me when I was reviewing this site is the amount of consistency in the sites that you're going to be targeting. So this wants to rank for, or this site, they want to rank for best bingo sites, right? It's UK search. If I pull up the Google results page, you can see here that like a really key thing that stood out was freshness. February 21, February 21, 2021, yada, 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 right? So they've done that. They've managed to match the fact that it's 2021, but they haven't matched the fact that it's as recent as February. So they've took themselves back a little bit from that part. As you scroll down, best bingo sites, they've got, I think, maybe 15 or 10. Yeah, so 13. They've got 13 here. If I go to position number 1, which is Bingo Mum, they have around 50 sites that they're talking about, that they offer to the audience, that they give information about. And I would imagine that the rest of the SERPs are going to be pulling the same bingo sites onto the page. So this bingo find has a limited product offering. So why would somebody choose this page over Bingo Mum when immediately there's less sites to go after? One thing that also makes a big difference is that underneath each individual brand, before somebody is to go and either play or read the review, there's only this thing here, which says new customers offer T's and C's apply. It doesn't really give me context of what I'm about to go and click, right? This is your money, your life. I need information before I make any decisions. So terms and conditions on bingo sites are a huge factor. And if you see here, these guys make a really big deal of it before you click on anything. So that it kind of, gives context before the click. So consider that. Second thing is that you've kind of taken away from the relevancy. It's a page about bingo sites, and then you've put up a big block about UK slot sites, right? Which, from my understanding, is completely separate to what you're trying to target. And if you check with best bingo sites or this best Bingo Mum site, everything they link to is bingo related, right? Internal links to deposit bingo, £5 deposit bingo. So you've got your kind of pillar page, which is your best bingo sites. And then beneath those pages, you've got your supporting content of longer tail variations of each individual bingo type, which doesn't deter from the relevancy. You're keeping it quite compound. And like you said earlier, you're building a cluster of keywords. And if you're not familiar with the clusterization, the support and content beneath actually powers up the pillar page through internal links, through external links, and obviously traffic and engagement. So just consider that when you're internally linking between pages.
I'm really glad you raised that because
Yeah.
this is super important from the perspective of how Google understands you as an expert in the niche. If you just have one big page about bingo, you probably won't be able to build the relevancy, to build the expertise, to be considered actually as the most comprehensive information provider in this tough your money, your life niche. This is something
Yeah.
you should definitely take care of.
Yeah, absolutely. Your money, your life is so focused on giving people the information they actually need before they make a transaction. And if you're generic or you know take away from what that purpose is, you're not gonna see the biggest benefit of doing that. And then as you scroll down the page, we've kind of skipped past this UK slot sites now, so we've moved down to the bottom. And here is really, if it was my page, I would be talking about specifics of, you know, how bingo sites work. So whether that's withdrawals, deposits, any rules and regulations based on where I am in the country. This is kind of more, I would say this is more fluff. And the bad thing about fluff is that you're not delivering, you know, the answer to the query as quickly as you could. So if I put in here,
It's super diluted from my perspective. Like you are not about bingo anymore. You are about payments, about
yeah,
support, about chat facilities support. Well, if Google is reading this, it has no idea if it's still about bingo or like some random crap.
exactly. And that kind of ties into what we said with the last site, right? That these are headers on the page. Why would you not include secondary keywords? Why would you not include long tail phrases about the primary keyword? These are opportunities for you to explain to Google or try to help Google understand your page quicker. So things like just bonuses and promotions, customer support, these are not the kind of keywords you want to be including in your headers. They need to be, like you said, longer tail variations or specific to what the ultimate aim is of this page. So
Yeah.
got all this text here, which is pretty much just, you know, it is helpful, but it's wasted because it's not specific. And then as you scroll down again, these recent posts here, again, you're pushing people into things about slots or brands that are not recognizable as bingo sites in this context. So again, you're diluting your relevancy through your internal links, which is not something people don't talk about or think about that much. Again, as you scroll down, where to find the best bingo sites in the UK kind of feels like you've just tried to squeeze in your keywords randomly. You need to be a bit more focused about how you use your keyword. And again, this is not the kind of content you would want to be delivering to somebody who potentially is going to be gambling with a lot of money. If you go onto Bingo Mum, I'll scroll down real quick and wrap this one up. You can really quickly see how serious they are about answering the questions that are bingo specific. Safety, what else we have? Can I play with no deposit, etc., etc. And then they have this, which is important. And coming from the finance and kind of loans niche, this is hugely important.
Oh,
Create a connection between, like, you know, for example, for finance, it was like maybe the Financial Conduct Authority, any kind of consumer rights that people can use, and you know, if they have any concerns, they can go off to these pages. That connects your brand with, you know, a governing body for gambling, finance, loans, whatever. That's going to be a trust factor marginally.
these
But
are basically outbound links, right? To
yeah,
those
they're outbound.
trustworthy services.
Yeah, outbound links. They're not outbound links to dilute the relevancy. They're actually outbound links to increase your trust associated, because gambling commission, be gamble aware, GameStop, Game Care, these kind of things, these promote the fact that you are giving correct information and that you care about the person who is landing on this page. And obviously Google, its main job, whether we want to talk about it all day or not, Google's main job is to give the user what they want and to, you know, make sure they don't end up with a lawsuit of some kind. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like a little bit of a mythical factor. Like add link to Wikipedia and you'll increase your rankings, right?
Mhm.
But in fact, these guys can be really helpful for the user as well. And it feels like it can make a little bit of a difference. I don't know how big, but well, it's definitely not hurting.
Yeah, it's definitely not hurting, and that's the thing. If it's good for the user, it's good for the page. You know, don't
Yeah.
always think like a robot or like an SEO. If it's good for the user, it's good for the page.
Great summary. And actually, I'm not surprised that this page is not ranking at all, at least in the top 50 on the keyword we have in here. So I will just take over the screen for a moment, and I will show you something that I'm really shocked about. That these top 3 pages are really well optimized when it comes to their content score. It seems like really they care about the content, and it really pays off. As we can see, domain score number 4 in the position 2. That's pretty huge, especially that the niche is extremely profitable. But the other thing that I noticed here is that all of these top pages are not the home pages except this one and that one. Top 3, top 4, top 5, yeah, top 4 actually. It's all about sub pages specific about lists of bingo sites available in 2021, which makes this homepage being optimized a little bit off uh, the top 4 trend, which may also be causing a little bit of an issue if like if this guy is trying to optimize for bingo on the homepage and writing about slots, then definitely there's something wrong with the page. The owner
Yeah.
is trying to monetize it too broad. If the owner decides on bingo, then entirely into bingo. That will be my thought on it. And you again mentioned headings, and I actually have a different idea for analyzing the headings. You can also click here on this A button to get all of the competitors' headings, and this FAQ section looks like it's ready, waiting for you to answer those questions and build some relevancy instead of writing generic stuff on the
Yeah.
page and increase the word count to match the required lengths. So, like the last time, I will just do a quick audit against those 3 pages. Maybe, yeah, there's another one with pretty decent content score 78. Well, 67, well, we can include because why not? It's really weak when it comes to the domain and pretty strong when it comes to content. So, this is a good combination of metrics for a page that we can include within the analysis, because if something is weak uh, in terms of domain strength and well optimized, then it's probably ranking high, reasonably high because of the content. So it becomes a good benchmark for the optimization. So I will just run a quick audit, and indeed we are way too short on content. Let's wait for the true density, but yeah, we are way too short on content. God damn. You see, the standard is over 7,000 words on the page, while we have can barely hit, if we even cannot hit the 2,000 words in the page. So a lot of work to be done. Uh, and yet over optimized. So with the short form content, the owner used bingo sites, best bingo sites actually, way too frequently. So doubling the content length without mentioning the exact keyword will move the density to the acceptable levels, which is definitely required to at least try to, like, this guy tried too hard when it comes
He
to
tried
exact
too hard.
keywords. Yeah, no exact in H1, definitely an issue. What about the speed? Yeah, speed is all right. So, quick glance at the true density, and yeah, bingo sites over optimized. TCS, I don't know what is it. Online bingo, this is actually under optimized. Bingo bonus under optimized. Uh, this is probably a brand. Best bingo size used 7 times, while for this length between 2 and 4 times. So doubling, tripling the length, yeah, even more quadrupling the length will be the best idea here. And using these exact keywords if I counted right, around 14, 15 times will result in the right density. So I would get rid of the content that there is on the page at this point, write it again, probably in the content editor, to include all of these guys in the right proportion. And I would also consider migrating it to the sub page if bingo is not the only sport, well, game that you try to promote. And you mentioned the clusters. So when it comes to the ideas for supportive pages, I quickly run the content planner for the best bingo sites, and we have like 237 inspirations for the blog post, well, supportive pages in general that are within this industry. So help yourself and
Yeah.
write at least 10% of these internally link to the money page, and you'll be home. We could, for example, filter it out by the intent that will be customer investigation, because I guess it's all about the affiliate marketing here, and maybe the search volume, well, not bigger than 10,000. And yeah, we kind of have a list of affordable, let's say, clusters for the smaller website to start with, to like bingo sites with PayPal. This is
Yeah.
definitely a great idea to niche down, like bingo sites with PayPal, uh,
Yeah.
bingo sites with TransferWise, bingo sites with no deposit, blah blah blah. So this way
Yeah.
you can create this kind of topical authority for the page, and I
I love this
think
tool,
that
by
will
the
be
way.
it. Excuse me.
I really, really like this. This is a big addition. I like this.
Yeah, it allows you to create those editors right away, and boom, 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 production. So yeah, it's like a hub for creating the content that is the next best idea if you
Yeah.
want to pursue the best bingo sites. If you want to pursue different keyword, you just put a different keyword in here, and you will receive those recommendations based on the search results in general. So it's like reverse engineering, again, reverse engineering, but on a slightly different level. So it basically will tell you what kind of topics you have to cover to build this expertise domain wise. So the audit or the editor, it will be a page wise, content wise authority, and the content planner will be more like a domain wise building the authority. So I think we can move on, but if you have anything to add, let me know. It's just the right time.
It cut out just then really quick, and I don't know if you saw, but I had the infamous Craig Campbell behind me during that last
No,
section.
no,
Yeah,
I couldn't see him. Uh,
he loves it.
your camera is really small. Craig, wait a couple of moments as we switch from the screen share to
He's gone.
to. He's gone. Okay.
He's gone.
So it's safe to turn your camera bigger. Who we will be roasting next? We have weight loss and
Yeah.
capital loans.
I think we should do capitalized loans, if
Let's
that
do
works.
this then. Yeah,
Cool.
definitely. Let me check. Business capital loans.
Mhm.
Okay, the screen is yours.
Cool. Awesome. So this is a pretty simple one, and apologies to whoever's page this is, but I'm trying to keep it as transparent as possible. First thing, if it's anything to do with loans or finance or anything that's going to be exchanging significant amount of money, you can't just pop up on the internet and hope that people are going to, purchase from you. You need to kind of solidify who you are as a brand. One thing that stands out immediately, other than the fact that you're not actually targeting the primary keyword anywhere on this page, is the fact that your content is extremely thin. So you're using kind of images to keep where your text is. If I'm going to be taking out a loan, I'm probably going to want to know a little bit more than those 1, 2, 3 steps. Again, we're not really taking advantage of the fact that we could introduce more information to the user and build out that picture of what this page is actually about, what the intent of the page actually is, and what we want the user to achieve out the back of it. So things like having effortless process. You could have something along the lines of business loans application process, right? It mentions your keyword, it defines what that heading actually is, and then you could break down what that process is going to entail. Having this like this is not going to achieve what you think it's going to achieve. It feels very much like a squeeze page. A squeeze page is essentially you're trying to funnel somebody to exchange information with you very quickly. Contact our dedicated advisors. Again, we're starting to move down to headers here, and you're just using your brand rather than the specific keyword. If it was me, it feels like you're trying to create a brand and keyword homepage, when in actuality, what you might find easier is to build out an inner page that talks about the keyword specifically. You've got business loan types at the top here. But you don't actually have business capital loans as an inner page, which I think would be the best option for you, because this is very heavily branded at the moment. And there's not a lot of information.
The brand is weak, right? I don't know, this brand is not so trustworthy and it's all over the place.
Yes.
So I feel like it could be a bit risky. I would probably turn into like a big bank or something.
Exactly. The thing that sometimes people don't consider, and this is because people get really like caught up with their brand, is the question you always need to ask yourself is, why would Google or anybody else in the top 3? If you can't answer that question, then you've not done enough. It's as simple as that. If you're missing information, if your brand hasn't been built up strong enough, if you're missing relevant pieces of the process or a checklist, or if the page is not even designed to feel like somebody could easily navigate around it, these are things that are going to detract from the user experience. As you kind of scroll down here, if I'm getting a loan, it basically feels like you're trying to encourage anybody and everybody. There's no credit checks. We waive all of our upfront costs. It doesn't feel like if I exchange money with this brand, that I'm going to get a good deal out of it. It definitely feels like there's an element missing here of trust. And having 3 Google reviews on a site that is going to be potentially, like, again, exchanging large amounts of money, 3 Google reviews, I would consider something like Trustpilot. Try and encourage more reviews onto the page so you can use social proof and is legitimate. And if you are going to keep this homepage as the kind of key way to target the primary phrase, you need to look at including way more content. Like this is way too thin. It's probably in the region of 400, 500 words potentially. I would hazard a guess that when you have a look at this in Surfer, it's going to be above 1,000.
Way longer. Yeah, it's almost 2,000.
Cool. So, thin content, it doesn't feel like a trusted brand. If I take a look at this real quick, multiple H1 tags found on the page is not a big deal, but again, it's something that you've made a mistake on. And then I'll have a quick look at, this is how the page is viewed from a header perspective. You've got this kind of random empty header tags with nothing inside them, a completely random H4 with no kind of subtopic that sits above it. And then you've got tons and tons here of H5s. I don't necessarily believe they actually need to be a H5. You could just have normal body text to kind of cater to that. I don't find any benefit of having anything beneath a H4 in general, just from my experience. So yeah, I mean, again, if we're looking at long tail keywords or secondary phrases, or even like anything to do with entities, the only thing I can really see is like business loan options. Credit checks would be related, but it's not really a secondary keyword. So yeah, I think there's tons of opportunity for this page, but it feels like the brand is too weak the content is too thin and they're not taking advantage of like social proofing and secondary keywords, in my opinion.
Yeah, make total sense. And I
Yeah.
can tell you that there is a ton of hidden content regarding these uh, policies, because of course it's regulated industry, so it has most likely some sort of pop-ups or disclaimers and stuff like that. So as you can see, it's huge amount of generic stuff
Mm.
that most likely overlaps with any other competitor. Probably, I'm not trying to guess that everyone has the same disclosure, but that's probably a common thing. This page is not ranking for this keyword and near the top 50, and I'm not
Mm.
surprised as its domain is rather weak than strong, and it is also not so well optimized. But the other thing that comes to my mind now is that this keyword has not clean user intent, because
Yeah.
first we have some government sites that we have no chance winning with for this keyword. If it's there, then it's gonna be there. Then we have the nerd wallet explaining best working capital loans for 2021, so affiliate stuff. uh, on a huge finance blog with domain score of 8. So it's probably staying here, especially that we don't have another blog post to replace it, rather another business to replace other businesses from the top 10. And only position 3 is a commercial result that will offer those capital loans for businesses. So we have the position 3, 4, 5, and 6. And those are the only one to take over, because the 7 is another blog post. So we have one government site, 2 blog posts in the top 10, and then Foundera position 9. So we end up like with only 6 spots for the business to offer its services regarding those capital loans. So it will be almost 2 times harder than if we had the top 10 that consists of competitors like you. And considering position 1 and 2 being occupied by those two big guys with a different intent, then I would say that chasing this keyword is not the best idea from the very beginning, as you won't get the top 1 or top 2. Most likely it will be super hard to rank in the top 10, just because only 6 spots are available for pages like yours. um, yeah,
Mm.
there is some sort of, let's say, hope, because I can see on position 6 a page with weak domain with 2
Yeah.
points, and on position 10 with 0. But uh, are you going to be satisfied ranking 6 or 10? Well,
There's just no
not
point.
really.
There's no point because you won't, you like, it's very unlikely you're going to have any amount of, or any good amount of clicks to,
Yeah.
drive that business forward. Position 6 to 10 is, you might as well not really try. If that's the, it looks hopeful, but like you just said, if you look at the intent of the SERP and the intent of the page, and if you really have to change the direction
Mhm.
of that strategy, then that is what you have to do.
Yeah, I would probably try to first within the blog explain all of the doubts of what is it, how to apply, and so on, to get it all covered from the perspective of first getting this first impression of someone with the brand. So looking for information. Maybe it will be a good idea if I get this kind of capital, but what is it precisely? And then I search Google and see someone explain me well what is it, and whoa, he offers it as well. So maybe it's a good idea to stay with this guy, as he explained me how to apply and so on. So warming up those leads with some info content, I would again use the content planner to figure that out. But for the homepage, I would try to focus on something smaller, like yeah, so you have the requirements explained and so on. But working capital for small business, 200 searches monthly, not that bad. And I would take a look at the search results, if they are any easier to take over. Maybe there are search results more homogeneous in the top 10, so there's more space for pages like yours, and that will be probably a better idea. Working capital loans for small businesses, pretty long tail, precisely targeted, and big players can't afford on stacking this kind of keyword in H1 title and, well, in the prominent places. So that can be your advantage against these guys if you target smaller keyword and if you can put it in places where the others can't. So that will be probably my advice in here. Is there a point of doing an audit? Well, it's always a point. So I excluded government side and I excluded blog posts. So we can quickly take a look. Whoops. What did I do? Here. Well, I will just show you this. Working capital and working capital loan. Well, working capital should appear between 26 and 63 times. Massive. We have 3. Working capital loan, NLP entity, highest salience scored entity among the others, 0. Working capital loans, once. Capital loans, once. Small business, twice. Capital loans, second highest NLP entity, 0. Credit score, once. So really under optimized page when it comes to use of these entities, words and phrases in general. So it's definitely missing a lot of trust. Like, well, among the top 15 phrases to include, all of them are either missing or highly under optimized. So Google really doesn't know what is your website about. And capital loans, business capital loans, that's not the best keyword. Like, everyone is chasing this working capital loan. Working capital. It's all about working capital, and we are missing the working capital on the page. So it's not business capital loans, it's working capital loans. I think that is the same thing. I'm not a financial expert, but I feel like it's the same thing, because, like, if Google displays pages with working capital loan on the top of the content, on the query business capital loan, for me, is a synonym, at least from a Google perspective. So I would turn it over and focus more on this working capital loan than business capital loan. And maybe this way Google will understand what are you about a little bit better. And we have 13 minutes left, so let's move on to the last one, which is a bit, yeah, it's kind of shady industry when you sell supplements, but you can also go to a clinic to lose weight. And this is our next topic. So the screen is yours, Ryan.
Cool. So you see the screen,
We
yeah?
got it. Yep. Ideal
Cool.
You.
Ideal You Health Center. Get $200 in free groceries when you sign up for the Ideal You program. Again, this is again another one of these great
Makes me
examples.
funny. Like, it's kind of funny.
You want to, it's a weight loss clinic, but you're giving you money to go and buy food, like
Buy sneakers.
buy sneakers, go and get the next fucking Xbox or something. So again, this is another great example of a trust element where the brand is trying to take over from what the actual aim of the page is. Okay, so again, you're trying to push somebody into a funnel immediately, take the quiz or book a consultation. You're not talking about the primary keyword in your, again, one of the key areas on your page, which is the H1 tag. If I check here, scroll up, Ideal You Health Center. Again, these are just the kind of core basics that you need to have absolutely nailed to even stand a chance. Primary keyword targeting, and as closely as you can, maybe some secondary entities, is going to be a huge change for you. So have a look at the page title. Weight Loss Clinic, Ideal You Health Center, Michigan. So does that mean that this page just wants to be national, or does it want to be Michigan specific? So
From the questioner, I got information it is not national search. It will be rather Michigan, US.
cool. So the keyword really should be weight loss clinic, Michigan, right? You know, if they want to talk about a specific area, then localize your primary keyword. Make sure that geo reference is included. So the page title, immediately, I would do weight loss clinic, Michigan. That would be the first thing I would add. Then I would change your H1 tag to make sure that that reflects your page title. Weight loss clinic, Michigan. Then you can start pushing people into this kind of, I guess, call to action. But you're very quickly, before somebody has even started to understand what your page is about, trying to force them into either taking a quiz or book a consultation, which is really not matching what I'm trying to look for. As you scroll down, the ideal you difference, again, this is a branded term that they're trying to squeeze in. There's no semantic differences or secondary differences like weight loss clinics or weight loss program or anything that would suggest that, you know, for here, for example, the ideal you difference, and then they've got kind of what it does. I would personally say your weight loss program, something like that, because you're using the key phrase, it's relevant. These kind of ambiguous headers, you're missing out secondary keywords. I would put weight loss success stories. Again, managing to add that keyword into your headers, being careful of the fact that you don't overdo it, but you do it as much as the people that are ranking above you do it. Keep that in mind. Why choose ideal you? Again, I'm kind of, I guess, 50% down the page now, and I haven't really seen where the clinic is. How do I get to it? What's nearby? There's no social proof in at the minute. Why would I choose you? There's no real information about the clinic and what it comes with. Be healthy, be empowered, be you. Your proven fat loss blueprint. Again, it's a bit empty so far. The word count looks empty. This is pretty good. That's a handy little tool to have. From what I can tell, these are all headers, just random H5s, I think. Yeah. H3s. And then as you scroll down, this is the real interesting part. The bulk of the content on this page are in these little sliders. They're all testimonials about the product, the clinic, but again, I don't see anything here that's Michigan specific. I don't see anything that would suggest to me that this is a local clinic that I can actually go and visit. There's nothing really that stands out.
Do you feel like these testimonials are legit? Like if they can acquire images for the success stories of pictures of Shane, Ron, and so on, and these testimonials are like dummy picture. So for me, a success story could be connected with the testimonial to show really that there's this person behind this success story, and this is why he recommends this clinic, because look, he lost 40 to what's the
Pounds.
metric is not kilograms, right?
Pounds, yeah. Exactly. I personally believe this page is a little bit thin on information. I would need clinic specific information, whether that is about the weight loss program or the plan that they offer. There isn't a ton of secondary keywords or semantically related phrases that I can kind of pick out, like BMI and stuff like that. That's kind of standard. But there's a lot missing. So like weight loss clinic, you might even consider weight loss center. Obviously you've got the singular version. It can include the plural version. Things about like once you've lost the weight, is there a way that these guys can help you keep the weight off? All of this stuff is going to be what people want. They want to lose weight, but they want to keep it off, right? That's the kind of USP. You've lost weight. How do I keep it off? What makes you different than the next guy in Michigan that's offering me the same thing? And I just don't feel there's a lot of information on here that somebody could actually absorb and use to guide their purchase decision. That's one of the big things for weight loss. Again, it's a your money, your life type of query. And it just feels very salesy. It doesn't feel like it's a helpful. It doesn't look like there's any kind of internal links to any supporting content to create that cluster of relevancy and authority either. So yeah, there's tons of this could be changing, but it's currently missing.
The best part of this page is actually these success stories, because they really look legit. They don't look like a stock photos and so on. I would definitely take advantage of them to show that we really help people, and that's the only the only thing that you have to to provide to convince a person who want to lose weight. Do they really help? Boom, this is how they help. And if I see a picture of person losing over 100 pounds, I can see, okay, they know what they are doing, and I'm sold. That's it. If I
Yeah,
could
exactly.
see a legit SEO case study, I would be sold too.
It's all in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding. I mean, that's excuse the pun because this is a weight loss site, but the proof is in the pudding, right? You validate who you are as a business, however you need to do that, and trust signals and relevancy. These are the things that are going to put you in situations where you can rank well. So yeah, success stories are important. We all love seeing somebody else who has achieved something or done the thing that we want to have done. So absolutely.
Yeah. So we got 4 more minutes. So I will jump on real quick to prove that you really gave a great advice on the keyword. So changing the keyword for Michigan, because I just checked keywords, common ranked keywords, and it's all about weight loss clinics. So it will be about directories and lists and best clinics and so on. And near me, everywhere, near me keywords. So definitely not related to the Michigan at all. So nothing about Michigan really. These guys are really not the best keywords to target. If we look at the search results, no one mentions Michigan except this one guy that is from Michigan, and it's actually a city page, so not the strong page of a local Michigan clinic or the homepage that will really uh, move the needle. So that's the wrong keyword to chase for sure. So I created in the meantime weight loss clinic Michigan, and so let's take a look at this one. Ideal. Boom. Number 3. What do we do then? Number 3. What do you do if you already rank top 3 and you want to optimize your content? Tricky question.
You know what? I reckon if you added a map to the page to prove that where you are in the location, some so address, number, so name, address, phone number, so your business information onto the page. Talk about things that are nearby in that city. If you're talking about like a local landing page, that will help bolster where you are in the actual vicinity. So things like your GMB map embeds, your business information, and obviously would definitely switch around the page title so it's a bit more focused to the primary keyword. And then failing that, you've got the magic of backlinks. So that's where we are.
Yeah, and yeah, I actually have a tip for all of these people ranking top 3 and don't know what to do next. So you are already a trendsetter. If you are top 3, top 4, top 5, you may have the best content out there. So what did I do is I selected just 2 pages around me that are the same type. So clinic, homepage, weak domain, and created an audit to find out what I may be missing that they have. And what happens? Medical weight loss clinic missing on the page. Weight loss clinic missing on the page. Weight loss programs missing. weight loss itself highly under optimized. Phone number appears only once. Like long term, it was about losing weight for the long term, right? And use only not used at all. Want to lose, so this kind of like what you want to do. I want to lose weight. Missing. Uh, Setting up weight loss goals. Missing. However, we have the calculator, but this term is missing. That is also an NLP, and we have emphasized grocery store and grocery store foods. While we have it in a header somewhere on the top, it is not utilized from the semantic perspective. Like we should be using it between 8 and 12 times, while grocery store appears only twice, and grocery store foods does not appear at all, as well as weight maintenance. So a lot of work when it comes to content in here. And if you are already ranking high, don't try to change densities. You are the trendsetter. Add keywords that you are missing and your highest ranking competitors have, and don't do anything else, because if you will optimize your article using benchmarks, I mean pages that may have worse content than yours, you may lose. But if you will just increase comprehensiveness of your article by adding these terms that really make huge sense, like eating habits, really meal plan, this is like essential to losing weight. So try to add these terms to your website, and you can even get the top one on this particular term, which will most likely be more beneficial than trying to fight for the other term that, well, it's not suitable for you that much. However, improving the true density part will also affect positively the other keyword. So national, like countrywide weight loss clinic, because you will just have those words and phrases that are meaningful, important, and so on. And that's it, Ryan. That will
We wrapped it up.
these were 4 pages. Really, I really enjoyed that. That was really cool.
Yeah, good fun.
I feel like there were many golden nuggets today. Thanks for joining
Good.
me.
That's what we want.
Thanks everyone watching us. It was over 50 people on combined Facebook and YouTube, so we hit the numbers that we wanted. That's great. If you want to say something at the end, that's just the best moment.
Just thank you for inviting me on. It's been a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it, and thank you to everybody who watched. Any questions, you can follow me up on LinkedIn or Twitter would be the best place to catch me. Just search for Ryan Darani. But yeah, it's been a ton of fun, so I appreciate it.
Great. That was my pleasure to have you. That was a great chat. We provided a lot of information for the audience. Thanks everyone, and well, see you next time. Cheers, guys. Mm-mm.